Hey, I just got back from a trip overseas. I spent almost a month in Europe as a backpacking guide. And then after that, I spent about 10 days in Africa, in Uganda, Rwanda. And I used a lot of stuff in my cash belt. So I need to refill it. And I thought it'd be a cool opportunity to, while I'm refilling it, go through some of my kit and then also show how I like to pack my belt. So first things first, the way I like to pack my belt is the way it's on my body. So the tag is in the very back in the center. That is quite literally the center point between the two edges of the pocket. And why I like to do it this way is because not only is it a visual demonstration of how it's gonna be on my body, but this is also the curvature of my body. So the things that are on the back are flat, so they go in the flat of my back. And then things that are around the sides will be kind of rounded contour. I also like to be able to reach and grab my stuff sometimes when it's on my belt. So I take that in consideration. Since I'm right-handed, I put the things that I'm more apt to need to grab really quickly on the right side. So let's go ahead and go through it. Another thing I like to do is whenever I'm packing this, I'll just go ahead and open the whole thing up wide and easy to access and see. All right, the girls sent me some more adventure kit parts. So it looks like I still have my ceramic blade with no chips in it. That's good. Because it's ceramic, it's hard. It's 10 times harder than steel. So if you start doing some weird, wacky stuff with it, the blade can chip. But other circumstances, especially like for cutting fabric, you have to fillet a fish, for example, or a small mammal. I've actually skinned a majority of a wild hog, a large wild hog, with one of these just to prove it out. It wasn't fun, but it worked really well. It works fine for cutting through the meat. It's just you don't want to hit a bone. I think I replaced these. I definitely used them a few times, but I might replace the new ones in there. I'm going from the outside in or from the front to back. My light still works good. And this is a waterproof light. Nothing really should ever go wrong with it. It's such a simple device the way that they designed it. Now I'm gonna replace a new whistle because we just got new whistles in. They should be the exact same design, same manufacturer, but they did a slightly different coating. So I want to test this new coating, and you can see the difference. This is the old coating, this is the new coating. The new coating, we wanted to match better the Cerakote on the buckle. I think they did a good job of that. I guess I should explain that this is my personal buckle. I've had this for over a year with the topo lines. This is something that I think we're gonna offer up. If anyone sees this video and they want the topo design one, make a comment so we know that there's people out there that want this, and then we'll maybe offer the topo designed Cerakote. All right, so whistle and light goes on the right for me. That's because this is something I'm reaching for pretty constantly. Got to look under a car. I have to look under a bed. Those are quite literally two things that happen in Europe. I'm always like, whenever I'm leaving a hostel or a hotel, always looking under the bed, and many times I've found things that fell underneath the bed. So it's nice to have a little light at the ready to be able to do that. Also, same thing with a car. Sometimes you gotta look under a car, and that happened in Uganda when we broke down. I had to get underneath there. And I like to have my compass. Let's make sure she's still working. This is a new compass, but I don't think I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna keep my old one. Both pointing north, still good to go. I like to have my compass over here on the right side as well. And my ferro rod's looking pretty bad right here, but that's just corrosion. That's just from sweat, probably mostly sweat. I've also swam in this belt a lot, but this is probably sweat that's starting to kind of corrode the outside. Not a big deal, it'll scratch right off. And if you wanted to protect it against that, an easy solution would be to just cover it with some kind of waterproofing agent. That could be Vaseline, it can be an ointment, really anything simple that's gonna stay on there and not get too gummy and nasty. So I'm gonna clip back in to our gear loops, my knife, and my ferro rod, which, wink, wink, nod, nod, this is always in my belt. I think I went to 11 countries 2 months ago through Europe and through Africa, and that was there. I probably traveled to over 24 countries with this same setup. All right, and as I go around, usually what I'll do is I'll close one portion. Take it in consideration, you want it's gonna be flat, so I'm stacking the ferro rod and the knife on top of each other. Once it's closed, you can even adjust it like this. Same thing with this side. I'm gonna push the whistle down in the bottom and utilize the flap feature, the patented flap feature, to tuck that light. All right, then we have the compass in that little gap. And then we have two more sections, the way I consider it. So I have these easy to reach things in the outer pockets for my medium-sized belt. And then from the inside, I have, usually I'll separate out, I'll have this kind of little repair section, which is my tape. I definitely use that several times. So I'm gonna replace it with some more tape. The way I do that is I'll just put the tape under that flap, and then it's secure, and then close it up. Now on the right side, I used up almost all of my tool tubes. Use the brass wire on the terminals of the overlanding vehicle. Use a fishing line for sewing up all kinds of stuff, backpacks and things. And then I didn't use my saw though. Zip ties came in handy for fixing a few things. I almost forgot. So we have the tinder tabs. Since this is my fire station, so to speak, my tabs go right under here. So in the same spot where the compass is where my 2 fire starters go. Close and shape. And now we have 4 tool tubes that go in here. Now I haven't found that one on top of the other, which one works better, like the saw on the bottom or the fishing line on the bottom. But I'll usually just stack those up on top of each other. A hardware kit in the center, I'll close them up like so. And then I'll take the zip ties and I'm gonna do it on this side so I can still reach them. And I'll just slip them in and they contour with the body, so I just keep them contoured. And then onto the water kit, still looking good. And you'll see the way I put my trail markers, they're like bread ties that have reflective on one side and bright orange on the other side. These, sometimes I separate out and I put it with my tape. These days though, I've been putting that with my water kit because I like to use it to secure the top of the water kit. And there goes the back. And I just remembered, I forgot one last piece of the adventure kit. This is my repair section, duct tape, and Technora cord. And the reason I like to put these like this, I put the duct tape on the outside so there's less signature and it's still flat on the outside. It's not as obvious from the outside. And then this Technora is pretty soft and supple, so it molds to my body and it's more comfortable that way. Going back through, making sure the top is nice and secure. And there we go. Now I got one last thing. This is like a pro tip. This is something that we don't sell in our kits, but I find I use it all the time and it's not made it back in to its home. So we got another hidden pocket beyond the hidden pocket on our belt, and that is in this cut portion. Now it's not really advertised as a hidden pocket, but I like to use it. And most of the time I use it for this fabric measuring tape, and I'll just wind that together. I think I took this off one that is like a yo-yo style, and I just cut it off. It seemed to be smaller than the ones that are about a 1/2 inch wide, and I cram it down in there. And then I secure it closed with the buckle. Voila. Back in business.